he has to offer you. It's incredible. It's marvelous.
Yeah, don't get in his way though. You get hurt. And you're right. I can feel it already.
But you pass this step back.
You may want to be down in the next section. Don't know.
Oh. By the way, how many of the large ones do you have? I have this one. The one you're, John. I have a large one here. Later. And we'll
I take it out and just figure it out over here.
if you like to sort of keep yours separate from mine,
Okay.
sure. There's another one. The one of them has a disc on it. Pretty cool. Certainly. This class is a class on healing. Next week we'll be doing the class on energy and magic. And we want to go through certain things pretty fast because we have a whole lot of things to do in this class. Okay? I want to go through, make sure you've got all the pages in your set first. Because we did collating and we're missing 8 pages, you may find a duplicate, so it may help us, but we also want to make sure you all have everything. This is the first page. Second page looks like this. It's sort of the other half of this. This is the third page. Looks like this. I think each page looks uniquely its own way. Sometimes just by a little bit. Fourth page looks like this. This page looks like this. I got these two separately at 2 different times from 2 different people. They were different issues of the magazine. And it's a fascinating thing. This is the next page. Begins part 2, and then another big picture that you can't see. And then this one. Then this one. Then this is the last one of these, okay? Now I'll tell you all about this part. Take the articles home and read them. It is a fascinating thing. It is the fact that they have discovered that you have a car battery with you, or I think, John, did you say you have a taser there that you can show them?
I don't. I forgot to bring
Okay.
it. But it's a little.
You can get them at most
$5.
outdoor supply or even military. It's what the police use. They talk about tasering a woman, if you saw the news.
I've seen that.
Well, this taser, if you zap where you have been bitten by a poisonous snake or a spider, will neutralize the venom immediately. It will stop the pain, it will stop whatever's happening. The original, and this was done down in South Central America, I don't remember. But they were showing that they were carrying a car battery with them. I mean, it's a lot easier to carry a taser with you. If you're going to be off in the woods a lot, it's a very handy item to have. This explains what's going on by doctors. Okay? It won't work 100% of the time, but it has a very high incidence of working, and it does neutralize the venoms when frequently you don't have time to do it otherwise. Okay? Next one is on healing. It says healing. Then after that, there's a second page that goes with that, and it has this little rose at the bottom. Then you have 2 pages of questionnaires, one that has writing at the top and one that just has a questionnaire. Like this all the way down. After that, you have a page that looks like this. And then you have a page that looks like the bottom of that one. It has all of these on it, okay? Then you have page, 2 pages. One is full of small print like this, and the other, the second page, just has a little bit. And then just because people like it, we thought we'd toss in the yin yang. If anybody wants it, it's just a nice one. Then you have 2 hands. One shows the back of the hand, the other shows the palm of the hand. And we'll tell you about where all these are in a little bit. Then we have the non-colored color charts for reflexology. One has the hand, one has the feet, one has the chakras. 2 of them are missing because they don't copy in black and white. The yellow and the white blue. And then this tells you about them. And that is the end of this step, okay? Any questions? Anybody got any questions? Now we're going to the healing. I'm going to go through this very, very rapidly. Prayer is an essential. The universe was and is maintained out of love. So I begin with loving and thanking all the energies of the universe for being here for me. Pray first thing each morning without fail for 5 minutes as if your life depends upon it. The quality of your life does. Give thanks and express your desires to your God, and you will experience the benefits. The words for God, sometimes it's universal mind, sometimes it's Buddha nature. It's also called The Field. In fact, the book The Field probably explains God better than anything I've ever seen and talks about why it works. After prayer, meditate for 15 minutes. Allow yourself to be still and place attention in your heart area and listen to your inner guidance. There are 2 forms of meditation. Meditation in a Christian, Muslim, Judeo form is when you meditate about something. Meditation in a Zen or most Buddhists, but Buddhism has 1/2 of each. But meditation in Zen particularly is when you clear your mind and don't meditate about something, and that's why you cross your arms and your legs. When you pray, you bring it together, you don't cross them. Crossing your arms and legs blocks energy. It blocks thought, it blocks emotions. That's why the Zen meditation does that. That's the meditation on the path called mind or no mind. The other is the meditation on the path of heart. And that's when you focus on something. Exercise daily, brisk walking or a correctly constructed mini tramp. Exercise is beneficial to move the lymph fluid through your lymphatic system and increase cardiovascular tone. The skin is the largest organ of the body and it needs clean air, sunshine, and brushing. Use a natural bristle brush to eliminate the dead skin cells and allow the skin to breathe. Choose a brush and the texture that feels joyful to you. This is most nurturing when shared with your favorite person. Break your fast each morning with fresh fruit or fruit juice. If you don't have fresh fruit available, I suggest frozen juice reconstituted with reverse osmosis. By the way, the water that you buy in the grocery store is not in the bottles, but the ones where you fill a little thing do use reverse osmosis as well as many different filters. Eating lightly is the key. Eat only fresh fruit until noon will aid the natural body processes. Actually, if you eat fruit and you don't eat anything else, now bananas take longer than other fruit, but if you don't eat anything else for an hour and a half, you will have digested your fruit and gotten its full value, because it takes different enzymes to digest fruit than it does protein, and it takes different enzymes for vegetables. Therefore, you never want, if you really want your body to get the most out of what it's eating, you don't want to eat the vegetables, you don't want to eat the protein at the same time you eat carbohydrates. You know what carbohydrates are. And fruit is carbohydrates, but it also has its own special things because of the acid and all. Anyway, so do not eat sugars, breads, grains, pasta, things like that. Those are all your carbohydrates, potatoes. At the same time, or within 3 hours of eating your proteins. And your proteins are all of your meats, your eggs, your cheese, fish. These are your proteins, basically. It takes about 4 hours to digest a protein, it takes about 4 hours to digest a carbohydrate. If you attempt to eat them together, it takes over 8 hours to digest both of them, by which you've lost a great deal of the nutritional value of them. But please go ahead and eat the way you want, I just thought I'd let you know. I don't stick by it, so I don't expect anybody else to. And you can use butter with anything, and you can eat vegetables with either carbohydrates or proteins and at the same time, because they digest just beautifully with either of those. Okay, write a dream list of all that you want in your life. The only limitations are your own thinking. When I was in school, I came up with what I called a want list, and every time I wanted something, I'd put it on the list. And then when I got it, I'd put a check mark, or today I'd use a colored marker to draw through to show what I'd gotten. I even did it when I wanted a house. Everything I wanted, I started putting on the list, and it's amazing. Once you put it on the list, you start noticing where it is, and you start getting it and acquiring it. I would put it there if I wanted a notebook. Whether it's something small or something big, put it on your list. And in writing it down, you sort of focus your own unconscious to be aware of it and remember to put you in the way of achieving it. Okay? Breathe on purpose deeply, in the nose, out the mouth. Deep breathing provides benefits of cleansing and relaxation. When we reach for something to eat, practice choosing food that's alive, with quality, prepared with love. And that's very important. And we'll talk about that in the class on energy, about preparing it with love and the magic of that. Be sure to bless and chew well. Remember, we are what we eat. What we eat is a choice. Practice using your senses of taste, touch, sight, sound, and smell to give and receive love and energy to all that's around you. It takes us out of isolation and enables us to get the most from our experiences. To relax, refresh, and energize, I love this word allow. Go find someone on a weekly basis to provide gentle, non-threatening massage to your body. Find somebody you can share it with. Perform acts of service with love. Do something for somebody without anyone knowing it. Allow all things in the universe to be, plants, animals, humans, and our experiences, without expectations, judgment, or interpretations, loving unconditionally. Loving is a fascinating thing. And I say this in many classes, and I think it's important to recognize. How many people here have ever said, I love you, to somebody they like? How many here have ever said, I like you, to somebody you like? Please remember, when you say I love you, you're telling the person that you're a loving person and that you are sending it to them. When you say I like you, you're telling them that you see that they have worth. And sometimes when you say I like you say I like you because I feel relaxed with you, or I always feel cheerful when you're around, or just make me feel good. Whatever. You have good ideas. But tell people you like them and tell them why. Because when you tell someone you like them, you're telling them they're special. And it's a very good thing to do. Allow yourself to feel all of your feelings and express them safely and immediately. One of the main reasons for the earth experience is to know and use the emotions, which are the energies that push our creations, our thoughts and feelings, into the physical for our total enjoyment with conscious mind and senses. Your emotions are not supposed to run you, but they are supposed to be your teachers. They're supposed to make you notice what's going on and focus on whether you need to make a change or whether there's something outside that needs work. And that's what your emotions are all about. Now we're going to come to the next one. Do you all have a pencil? I will next week bring you a new copy of this, because Michael made them and didn't make 2 copies of this. And we always want 2 copies of this. One so you can use it today. And then one so you'll have it to make copies so that other people can use it. It is one of the most incredible things I have ever come across in my 70 years on this planet. Please notice between each line there are 2 statements. To the right of each statement, there are numbers in different columns. You are only going to circle the numbers that are true for the statement that they are directly to the right of. for instance, on the first line, if you have a general weakness or lethargy, you will circle those ones. If you don't, you won't circle. If you have frequent illness, you'll circle the 4. If not, you won't. But those are two separate statements. They just drew every other line, that's all. So will you please now take this questionnaire, the 2 pages of it, and circle all of the things that apply to you. Okay.
Would allergies be considered an illness?
I don't think so. Depends. If they mention allergies someplace else, then that's where it'll be.
It's in there someplace, I know.
I think it is. Yeah, they're talking about food allergies here.
Does it count if you're allergic to getting up in the morning? Does it count if you're allergic to getting up in the morning?
That's not a food illness.
Well, I'd try.
But if your allergy caused breathing problems, then you'll circle the breathing problems. In other words, you'll circle the symptoms you get with the allergy rather than... After you have done both pages, then in each column, add up the circled numbers only and put that at the bottom. Yours may be different now with the question, never know. As I said, this is the most remarkable thing I've ever come across because it really seems to be very accurate for everybody that ever does it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who came up with it. I'm not even sure where I got it, but I know it's a remarkable little test.
We used it on some friends of ours, on some things that they didn't know about.
Right. Oh, it's a very handy thing. And then after you've added the first page and you've added the second page, then you add the first and second page together, because on the second page is a place to bring over the line from side 1. Yours is probably somewhat different.
Changed quite a bit.
Right. Considering you're going to have a baby in a few weeks.
On my birthday, maybe. Hopefully on my birthday. That's what they said. That's what they do. I dug in poison ivy today.
Okay. Anybody finished yet? Just let me know when you finish. And you're finished? We'll just wait till everybody gets through. Some people have more numbers to add than others. You will see on the next page, there's a thing that says the key. Each of these columns represents one of these systems: digestive, intestinal, circulatory, nervous, immune, respiratory, urinary, glandular, and structural. And the number in that column, if it is from 0 to 10, says the system probably doesn't need any extra support, that they're doing fine. If the number is from 11 to 20, it says you might need some support for this system in the form of vitamins or such. And if it's 21 or more, the system probably needs support. Okay? Now please notice, like they said, building the health of the body. The digestive system is the body's food processing plant, which breaks down the foods we eat for absorption and utilization. It includes the stomach, the liver, and the pancreas. These are the things that can be given to it for support. The herbs of peppermint, papaya, ginger, and fennel. Nutrients, hydrochloric acid, digestive enzymes. And your lifestyle to eat slowly and chew thoroughly. Never overeat, don't drink with meals, and be careful of food combinations. And when it says don't drink with meals, it doesn't really mean you shouldn't have water. Each one of the systems, it will tell you the things that will be very good for the kind of support it needs. And that's what the page following that is about. And that will take care of that. Now, so you will understand different foods. It's telling you acid stomach relief cannot be contained by taking commercial antacids. They use products containing aluminum, and if used frequently, this can cause senility. Cimetidine and antacids do not mix and should not be taken together. Take aloe vera before meals and at bedtime to correct peptic ulcers and counter the effects of acid indigestion. Why not examine your diet and learn which foods cause the excessive acid in the stomach, gas, constipation, hemorrhoids, tiredness, etc. Cell functions and good health may be achieved when diet contains approximately 60% alkaline foods and 40% acid foods. Are you eating enough alkaline foods to feel good every day? And these 2 pages will tell you which foods are alkaline and which are acid, which are moderately and which are highly, and also which are neutral. Okay? That's just so you can better plan or correct your own diet according to whatever your needs are. Of course, if you have good numbers, then you don't need to worry. You're probably doing fine. Okay? Any questions?
When it mentions like thyme or garlic or hawthorn, do you add that, like adding it to your food?
Yeah.
You eat it? Is it okay to cook it?
Oh, yeah.
Its properties?
Oh, yeah. Add it to, I add a lot of these things to different foods. Garlic's great with pasta if you like pasta. I quit eating it because of the arthritis. That's something I discovered, that your carbs are very important in creating arthritis. And if you get rid of your carbs, you get rid of your arthritis. I had reached a point very rapidly where all of a sudden I had some arthritis in my hips and my knees. And it wasn't bad, it didn't bother me. But I had got in my hand so badly that I couldn't cut with scissors, I couldn't hold chopsticks, and I couldn't hold a pen. And I happened to hear Dr. Atkins on TV just before he died. And he was saying that carbs are very instrumental in making arthritis worse. And that if you get rid of the carbs in your diet, you can get rid of the arthritis. So I said, okay. And I called my son that I knew at one time had used his diet. And he sent me the book. But even before that, I knew what carbs were, so I just eliminated them for a week. About 2 weeks, actually. Now I still eat carbs, but I eat a lot less of them. And I got back the use of my hand. I got rid of all the other arthritis within that 2 weeks. And now my hand still has a little bit of arthritis and some pain, but it's absolutely usable. It never goes to the part where I can't use it anymore. And sometimes there's no pain at all. It just that varies. Because I am still eating some carbs. I just thought I'd pass that on to anybody. Losing weight was never a thing that I could go on a diet for. Because my body has always worked for me even when I was almost 300 pounds. And I didn't even weigh myself. But because I had been to the doctor, and he weighs me when I go, for poison ivy, and I had to go in for something else about 6 months after And I weighed the same thing for 2 or 3 years, about 285 pounds. And when I went to see him for whatever else it was, whether it was just to get a prescription, because I take thyroid every day, I have since I was this high. And the Air Force supplies me with the 2 things I've taken since I was a kid. And I have to go every so often and get it written. And when I went in, I'd lost 60 pounds, so it was a good deal. Anyway, but that I thought you'd like to know about carbohydrates and arthritis. And when I told my chiropractor, he said yes, and he explained why in great detail, which I don't really understand. Somebody else can follow it. But I understood that he said, yes, this is so, but I don't even tell my patients because they don't want to listen anyway. Now, when it comes up to having a lot of carbs, and I like chocolate cake. There are different things I would love to eat. But what I always do when I think about it is I just look and say, hey, I'd rather have the use of my hand. It's what you call incentive.
And basically, in response to his question on the herbs, 90% of the herbs out there are just fine. I take apple cider vinegar for an ulcer. Okay, sounds like the wrong thing to do, but it works. The one you want to be careful of is anything that's a stimulant, which is ephedra, which you can't get anymore. All wrong.
And DHEA is, you've got to be careful of something like that, because although it can be very good for some people, there are a number of things that if you have the condition, you should not touch it.
Yeah, you probably should do a little reading on it. The other one is echinacea. If you happen to have certain allergies, particularly to ragweed, it can be a problem to some people. Other than that, you don't want garlic, you can.
And all of the ones you have are, that they're listed for the most part, the ones you can buy in your little seasoning things, yeah, cook them right in with your food. Or you make a tea out of some of them. So there are different things.
Someone, you can get supplements at the stores that are
In fact,
cold processed.
the Native American, the medicine man that created our medicine wheel, he was a wonderful healer. And he was forever telling people the different, I guess you'd call them weeds, wild, anyway, that you should make into a tea that would be helpful. So it was definitely a matter of cooking them. It wasn't a matter of having them raw, okay? Although mint in tea is just great. Tastes great too. So this one is very interesting. Now you can use this with a pencil, a sharp pencil point. A sharp pencil point doesn't tend to make marks on you, and a pinpoint is too sharp. But if you will find all these different points in your hand. This is on the outside. The same is true for the right or the left. And the other one is for on the palm of the hand. And if you will take, and I will use a ballpoint pen because it'll work. So if you'll lend me your pen for just a minute. And if you just sort of, go around and see where. See if you find a place that hurts when you do it. And if it does, just do this for a few minutes. It's part of acupressure, part of acupuncture. It's the whole thing. It's hitting the system. And if you know where it is, look on the chart and look in that area. But if you don't have any idea, just go looking until you find a place and if you find a place that hurts, just do this for a little bit, and pretty soon it stops hurting. And when it stops hurting, you're helping getting the flow, the chi. Okay?
Doesn't matter which hand you do it with. Dominant hand or...
No, it's actually, frequently if it's a thing on one side or the other, the hand will relate to that side. But if it's not, you can do it with either hand. Okay? This was given to us by a very nice couple with Then these I've given you, they don't have the colors, and if you want, you can bring colors next week and we'll show you how to color your own. If you want, we made some of these on good cardstock, and for a $3 donation to the Inner Path, you can get the set. of the hand of the foot. And it tells you about reflexology. Okay? So, see, they're coming. One of each. So if there's anybody that wants those, just when we break, just before John gets into his thing, you can let me know. Okay? You don't have to. As long as you want to. As I said, on the list, the red is here, the orange is here, the yellow doesn't print, the green is here, the light blue is here, that's the dark blue, and the violet. And it's like the rainbow. You start with the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, dark blue, or indigo, and violet. And it just works up. And you can see that these are the parts of the body, generally, that the different parts, different chakras are working with. Okay? Any questions about any of this? Okay? No questions? All right, two things. First, we want to talk a little bit about healing and about your working with one another. All right? And we're doing this very fast because we want to go into something else for the whole second part of the class. Let's see, where is that? Imagine that you have a cord running from that plug up there. See in the black? There's an outlet. Just imagine that you have a cord plugged into that and coming down to you and coming in through your left or right hand, whichever you choose, whichever feels right to you. And I'm going to send energy up to that and let it come to you. And when I say click, it's going to start flowing. Okay? Click. Now it's going to do two things. There's going to be a flow into you and a flow out of you. You are going to release whatever at this moment you most need to release. Whatever that may be. And you're going to receive what you most need. Whether it is an attitude, an idea, an awareness, whether it's energy, whatever it is, but it will be that which at the moment, emotionally and or spiritually, you most need. You may have no idea what's happening, because this is happening in your unconscious. I have no idea what's going on. I can feel a flow of energy, but I never know what's going on because I don't want to get my conscious involved. In this particular case. Now there are forms of healing where you wish to be conscious and you wish to think about healing. In this case, I'm talking to you rather than paying attention to that, and you're listening to me. If it is important for you to have a thought, your unconscious will give it to you. Fascinatingly enough, sometimes all you get is a different perspective. For instance, you may see a problem out here, and it may look huge. And when you go around the side, you find it's paper thin. You find that what seems to be a huge problem has no depth to it. Sometimes you have some little thing, and you can't understand why you can't get beyond it. And when you go beyond, you find it has a great deal of depth, even though it's a small thing. And you want to handle them differently when they are different. Some of you will be able to feel this right now. At least the flow of energy. Some of you may not. But it's going to work whether you do or not. Because it's what I do. I never have any idea what's going on with people unless they tell me. I don't really want to know unless they tell me. Or unless they ask for help, and then they don't even have to tell me what kind of help they want. Unlike many psychics, I don't want to tell people what's coming up in their life, or that they're going to find the right person or the right job, or they're going to move to the right house, because I don't care. I don't care about it for me. Why should I care about it for you? I trust the universe that whatever comes, I will find a way to be who I am and respond to the universe out of who I am, and that's true for everyone. And knowing all these things just doesn't, sometimes it gets in the way. Sometimes because you know what you want, you don't notice when what would really be more important or more beautiful or more beneficial comes your way because you're too busy focusing on what you think you need or think you want. So I like to be much more open to the universe. Any of you feel anything? How many of you can feel something? Okay. Then you know something's happening. Even if you don't know what it is. And maybe you will. I always like the story of the one girl. It'll go on. It'll just go on working. She came to my house, and I hadn't worked with her before. I didn't know what she did. And I knew I was doing something helpful, but I had no idea what. And she didn't either. And she came back a week later, and she said, I got wonderful tips this week, which I've never gotten before. She was a waitress. Well, I knew that I didn't just give her more tips. That wouldn't have made sense. So I said, did you relate to your customers in a different way? And she said, yes, I did. I was much more open to them. And that's why she got the better tips. And that was the change that was made. And the reason I don't want to know what I'm doing is because many, many years ago, when a friend was teaching one of the earliest classes in the psychic through the university, we had a class full of people, and we sent one of them out of the room because we were going to talk about the ability to send things to people. And the whole class I told what I was going to send to this person when they came back in. And somebody else had gone out with them so to make sure they couldn't hear. And I always like laughter. I don't know why. I just love laughter. And so what I was going to put into this person was laughter. And they came back in and they sat down, and at first they, well, what's going on? And they started laughing their question. And so the class said, it worked. And because of this, when I was working with healing people, I consciously put laughter into what they were getting. And I found out very, very soon that that's a pretty dumb thing to do. Because I hit somebody that was the last thing in the world they needed, and what happened is they started becoming hysterical. And that's the last time I ever decided that I knew what somebody else needed. And from then on, I simply will work with you, and the only imperative is that it will be that which you most need. And my unconscious will talk to your unconscious, and they will draw from the field, from the universe. Okay? Now, I would like you to stand up and face the row behind you. If you will. So, well, you usually do this. No, you try to keep facing that. These two. Now, I want you to stand up. Now, I want you to reach out, and I don't want you to touch here. Some people believe you give with one hand and receive with the other. I have found that if you believe that, it's so. But if you don't, you can do it whatever way you feel good. Okay, so I'm not saying you have to have which hand up and which hand down, but I want you all to begin to feel the energy flowing. You all feel this? And I want you to be aware of what happens when I do this. Did you feel it go down? You may feel more when it goes up. Feel it go back up. Down at the end, would you break just between you? Can you feel that? Now put it back. For some reason or other, you usually can feel it more when it goes up, when it's added, than when it goes down. Yes, I know. You can show them if you want. Go ahead. Why not?
Okay, everybody hold the other person's hand. Hold the other person's hand. Okay, between you two, you put your finger right here and here. And you put your finger right here. Okay, now you let go. Put together. Not go like this. No, touch me. Oh, you guys are pretty energized. You show somebody else. Here you go. You want to break yours? Go like that. Here you go.
Well, I'm impressed now.
You want to put it between two other people and see it?
Yeah.
Take it over.
Okay. Who you want to hook up with? Is that the wrong word? Okay. You
Show
put one
you.
thing there, and then you just touch right there. Now,
Right
that's
here.
it. Now let go.
No, you keep it. You keep holding.
Okay.
And you want to go ahead.
Now what happens? So sometimes
That's
this
wild.
it actually happened with him. He does a lot of energy work, and so he gets his hand close, and it started going right.
Well, I can do Reiki, so.
Right.
Yeah. I go with you on that. I do mulch.
Okay.
That's pretty neat.
So you have frequencies going in between you all the time.
Well, I'm impressed now.
But some of you will be
First to
more
21.
apt to feel it. And others have to hear it to really perceive it. Okay? And it's okay. You are what you are. And it's not right or wrong. Each of us has different gifts. Each of us perceives the world in different ways. Each of us finds that different psychic tools appeal to us more or less. So if a particular thing you don't happen to do well, don't worry about it. That doesn't happen to be what you're here for. You'll find one that you like. Some people like stones, some like psychometry, some love the tarot. It's just different. And some just suddenly discover they love healing and being healers. And they've discovered that in Touch for Health, the wonderful book written by a nurse, and she's worked with VA and she's worked in hospitals and nursing schools around the country, and has shown that if you will take two patients and one of them is touched by the person providing for them and one isn't, the one who is touched will improve faster. And if one is prayed over and one isn't, the one that is prayed over will get better faster. These things are real. This energy is real. But one of the most interesting experiments they did was they took nurses who had been trained in Touch for Health. And in Touch for Health, you don't even necessarily have to touch. You can sort of go over the person, as well as actually physically touching them. Both have different things and both are good. But they took nurses who had been trained in this, and they took two groups of patients with similar illnesses. And both of them made the same touching or movement. But one, while they were doing it, thought about healing, and the others thought multiplication tables. And they found the ones that thought healing when they were deliberately working with healing got better results, better improved results. And these studies were done in some major hospitals up in the East Coast. So there's a lot going on in healing. And what we want you to do before you find out about all of this, which can aid healing and everything else just immensely, is I want you to get together in twos. So if you'll go back to her, and then you and 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 you, okay? And I want one of you to stand behind the other. And I want you to simply feel the energy. Think, and remember, the first thing is you tell your unconscious you wish it to help the person you're working with. One of you will sit while the other does it, then you'll trade places and the other will do it. I want each of you to start over the head and just feel if there's any place that sort of needs something pulled out, something that comes in. Just become aware, okay? And the thing is, you're going to be doing exactly what we're doing with that. You're going to be taking out what isn't necessary and putting in what it needs to have instead, all right? But tell your unconscious you wish it to do it, and then allow it to do it, all right? Let's everybody do it right now. Just for about 5 minutes, we're going to take this time.
You have to do it so you don't know.
No, this has to be the way.
Okay.
Sit back in a chair that way.
And you will find, by the way, sometimes if you're doing it, you're just, oh, it's getting painful because you're pulling something out. A lot of people always shake it out that way, if that happens. If you're the one doing it, see if you find a place over that person that seems to have a particular, maybe it was an old injury, maybe it's something going on now.
Wow, somebody's releasing.
Hmm? I love this class. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Where did you get it, by the way?
Of all places, cranial sacral, Upledger Society. I think I bought a couple or maybe 3, but I'm down to 1 now.
Where did you get anyone?
Yeah.
Of course, you keep coming, so I don't need it.
There's
As
some.
long as you're here, I don't need to get all this stuff.
No, I seem to just, have it in my Mary Poppins bag.
Right. They now have the water ones on the internet. The
Messages of water.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I asked them
Actually,
about
that's
the stealing the
expensive.
pictures, and they said, well, you're not supposed to do that, but if you get it off the internet,
No, actually, they're selling the book.
Oh,
And it's not very expensive.
well, they have the Messages of Water 3.
Right.
Plus,
Yes,
It's cool.
Yeah, I got it.
It's really happy.
I have your
and
that.
the tape, which you don't want to listen to because it's in, all freaked out. You got
Good
it
one.
laboriously.
Go and go for steak.
Yeah, I've had trail mix.
Oh, were you supposed to bring me something? What did you know?
What is it?
A ball.
I got a ball. What kind of ball do you want?
Then he got it for me.
It's weird. Like,
Run
around here. Neck, upper back.
Now swing places.
It's really dense. I feel like technically strong energy there.
But first,
She got a weird, it's really
Have you done it both ways now, or?
No, the other half is now starting.
Okay.
There'll be a. I keep thinking John may be able to help Buster some.
Hey, do you think you could get a dog to quit liking cats for dinner?
I could get my own dog to spit them out after a while.
No, we need one that won't go eat them to start with.
he had a dog last year. It was the, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like that baby last.
You had just lost it.
Tobias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I had lost a dog right about the same time. That's kind of what I had for a long time. It's close to the end, too.
Yeah. Well, I actually had a dog that had died a year earlier.
You ought to put a tacky on Giovanni.
I've got one up the street and I keep forgetting to
I
bring
gave,
it up.
I bought a
Yeah.
Sally to give him.
Well, Ed left before I could get it to him. And
Well,
then I
he's
forgot.
there now. Put
I
it
know, I
on
keep
him
forgetting
tonight.
to-
For
Yes.
a year. And today was the day I went
I will
there.
go.
And it
It
wasn't
made
even-
Neferu stop
yeah,
hating
it was-
dogs.
That was weird.
Might help the dog
I'll see you
stop
later.
wanting
They
to
thought
take
even
it.
painting would put tachyon paint on it.
How many dogs you got? How many dogs do you have? You get dual doggy. If you reach down there, you'll feel them.
Yeah, there's 2, 3 of them right there. I know.
Yeah. They trip on them.
No, but this dog is a disaster in the yard.
He needs to
Well,
be
now-
calmed down.
Oh, Lord.
It's yours?
It's my
Yes.
big black one.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's the,
I kind of like started like.
I could give you my dog, which is a little Gonzo. I got that book about the flat coated retriever.
Mhm.
And she really is, they say that one of their problems is they're clowns.
Yeah, they're bit clowns.
Yes,
They also can think.
Oh, yeah.
but it's a disaster because it doesn't always. Just because it can doesn't mean it will.
That's right. Your dog doesn't always.
Well, yours is a puppy too, yeah.
And it's a disaster in the yard.
Yeah,
I was feeling like.
I mean, it took the ends of both wings of the swine, plus the shoulder.
Is he
I'm sorry.
And it's all in little pieces, so I had to throw them out.
Little pieces.
Yeah, I broke them off into pieces. When it hit it hard. It went flying, and
Oh
It
yeah.
has to be bad if you don't glue it back together.
I couldn't. Just little pieces. Not even the tip. I mean, I got a tip about this big, but the wing was broken off about that big.
A little bit of pressure.
My wrist has been bothering me, and my wrist keeps hurting now.
Just pull it, let it go. Yeah. Sometimes we take the energy in. It can be painful when you take it in.
21-year-old legal.
See if you feel any
Oh, that's good.
Were you able both to feel what the other was doing?
You never retire.
Of course, now, I mean, when you're working with Reiki, I mean, you already understand all this, so.
Oh yeah, but it's good.
Huh?
Well, it's good. Like how you talk about the intent is really good too. So it tells us that the intent is everything, and it's good how you were saying how to put a thought in it. And I think that they need, just like looking at it, have its own intelligence to go over it.
Well, good.
Now, you brought up something very interesting, and I do want to go into this. I haven't normally, but Dr. Dyer has written a book, The Power of Intention. It's the definition of intention that is very, very interesting. And it goes right into where you're coming from, John. So, do you all need to take a break before we go into this? Anybody need a break? Okay. There is a thing called the field. The field. God, if you will. It is that out of which everything is created. Physicists have discovered that if you go down to absolute zero, where there should be no energy at all, there is. It's a small amount, and they've had to start making allowances in their calculations for it, and they came up with a name, and the name the physicists gave to it is tachyon. On the head of a pin, on the point of a pin, the amount of tachyon could boil all the waters of the ocean, of all the oceans of the earth. That's how much energy is potential in tachyon. But it is potential. Tachyon is not energy and it is not matter. It is the potential for either. And it is the connection between God and the material universe. Yes?
Is that considered like chi then?
Chi is a manifestation, is a method. Chi is energy.
So this is before chi?
That's right.
Before chi.
That's right. It's before chi.
Pre-chi.
Pre-chi. Tachyon is fascinating. Chi is slower than the speed of light. Tachyon is faster. Faster than the speed of light. What we do not have in this material world. And it is the connection between the larger field and everything. Now, everything in this physical universe has a field, and chi has a field. It is the field of chi. And the tachyon that comes into that field becomes chi. And the tachyon that comes into your eardrum becomes an eardrum. And the tachyon that comes into bone becomes bone. The tachyon that comes into anything becomes what the field of that thing is. And we are composed of many, many, many fields. Every part of us has a separate field. Each cell has its field. The blood has a field. Collections of smaller fields become larger fields, etc. But each of us has our own field. And tachyon is that which comes into every field to create what it is. So we draw from the larger field, from God, the tachyon, to keep creating what we are. And it is a continuous creation. Okay? But it is, before it comes into any field, it is potential. And it is the potential to be energy or matter or thought. Because thought has a field. And tachyon is what feeds into the field that allows you to have thoughts. So everything that is in this world is created out of tachyon. Prayer increases the flow of tachyon. The laying on of hands increases the flow of tachyon. Wearing silk increases the flow of tachyon. Wearing linen increases the flow of tachyon. And that is why, before we had all kinds of modern refrigeration, people discovered that if they put linen on a tablecloth, they enhanced, to a small degree, very small, but still enhanced the food. It didn't spoil as rapidly, and it tasted better. And when they wore silk, it did the same thing for them. Cotton does. Natural substances, natural part of the growing earth seem to have this kind of energy, but especially for some reason or other, silk and linen, and glass has it. Silicon and crystals have it. It's why the quartz crystal is used in so many things. All these things that you know about energy. All these things are because certain things, and see, crystals grow. Just like silk, linen, these things that grow seem to be the things that draw more tachyon in. And we're going to get to some of the things around there, and you will be able to feel the increase of the flow. One of the fascinating things about tachyon is it can only become what a field is. It is never destructive. Now, once it is brought into a field and becomes what that field is, we can misuse the field. We could misuse the energy. We can misuse the physical. But it can only create in a positive way what the field is. And life is always there when there is this creation, and it's a part of it. Okay? Now, John is going to show you some very interesting slides about water, right?
Well, among other things, yes.
Oh.
Energy.
Okay, then I will move back to him and let him take over now.
I put out a bunch of tachyon things and really insulted somebody thinking that, gee, let's have somebody sell this stuff. I don't sell. It's just too important to
You can buy it from him. He makes no profit, is what he's telling you. He will order it for you, and you will pay that price plus the shipping charges and the taxes that he has to pay, and that's it. He does not ever make a profit.
It's too important stuff.
For a while I was doing it, and I finally said, no, I don't want to. I wasn't getting a profit either. But it was just too much of an hassle since he's already doing it. So you can get it from John. Okay.
So I didn't want to, that's why I put this thing up. I'm 62, retired from teaching, taught 30 years in the city, so I know it's behind me. Taught psychology, sociology. This, by the way, was done just before coming here, so there's no punctuation. I wasn't an English teacher. I became a certified massage therapist. However, it wasn't just, that wasn't enough. So I kept going. And, you know, since I was retired, I paid approximately $15 an hour for not working. Of course, I have to not work 40 hours a week. But then the rest of the time I don't work either. So most of the people that took massage therapy had to, get to work. And I just said, wait a minute, there's something more. And so I went into become a Tachyon practitioner, which is, I actually took courses, I took it twice as a matter of fact, in order to how to use the Tachyon materials. There's been a method of taking, like for instance, cloth, crystals, glass, and making it a magnet or an attractive device for tachyon. Now, tachyon is very much like money. Money doesn't know whether you're a scuzzbag or not. You put the vibration on the money. It's raw energy. So if you get $1 billion out of the lottery, most people can't handle it and it destroys their life. But you can take the money, make it more coherent, rather than destroying your family, your friends, your children. You can, put it in like a college fund. That's coherent energy. You can put it in some sort of investment to keep on working. You can say, well, this person's having a tough time, and this is just the time they're at the very bottom. It's just the time they need that little extra nudge, and do that. Matter of fact, I had an aunt that used to do that all the time, and worked pretty well. She didn't have any children. So, I took classes in, I can't even think of all the things. A Reiki master teacher. I've done Trigger Point, which if you don't know about, you definitely, I've got some books that it'll cut through all the garbage. Do you have the medical books?
I have a few anatomy physiology books.
Oh, okay.
But I don't have any Trigger Point books. I haven't taken that yet.
Oh, it's marvelous. It's marvelous. The reason why Trigger Point is so marvelous is that you'll just take a look at this little thing that you already saw. We only get a little bit of our energy really from our food. We're getting it from sunlight, our breath, cosmic energy, electromagnetic, direct cosmic energy. And matter of fact, if you go and you, like for instance, do some fasting, you'll find that, boy, I really don't eat much food at all. And what you're doing is you're just starting to come in and this radiant energy. Well, with Trigger Point, I can press right here, and you get a pain pattern that goes right here. People think they got a heart attack. Here, here, down here, and the doctors will swear you have carpal tunnel, so they cut a little hole right in here, and they'll probably have to do it again because it never takes care of the fact that the nerves don't go there, and yet you have a pain pattern that seems to be radiated, as in like radio. Okay? Starting to catch it? So here we have it, radiated, 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 radiated. Well, the breath, I guess, might be a chemical thing, and the food's a chemical thing. The fact is that this is a little bit too large for that. This is the electromagnetic spectrum, and this amount right here, that's what you see. And yet 80% of your information in your brain is from what you see. I mean, it's radiation. That's how we're communicating right now. Radiation, vibration with sound. Now, the fact is that all these frequencies are going on simultaneously. Now, this is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be handing out some tachionized material, so I might as well, so don't forget it. Is anybody interested in being able to access tachionized material? Okay. Let's see here. Yep. Usually this costs about $1 or so a piece, but I got them as a freebie, so I'm going to have to share. And there's a price list here. Let's see now. I don't know whether I've got enough price list. Maybe I do. Maybe not. Okay. All right.
Also, explains it rather well.
Yeah, there you go. Now, some of the stuff it doesn't show, but some of the stuff is things that you have to take classes for. And let's see, price list, what's the price list? Price list. By the way, I had to get married in order to have any semblance of a left brain. She did tell me I was pregnant, but there are a couple of years I figured that out. But in order to find it, I had Betty, Rick. Okay, so this is why I got this right here. Now, the tachyon process. So, this is the thing that you'll find in your book right here. It's one of the things that it used to be. Now, when they went down to absolute zero, as you had heard before, there's supposed to be no energy at all. That's absolute zero, Kelvin. Except this 0 point energy. That's why they call it. And a lot of people can't tell you about it. And as 0 point energy actually goes faster than the speed of light. And if you know your Einstein, he said that when you get to the speed of light, matter expands infinitely, and it takes an infinite amount of energy, and time stops. And he never did give any consideration about going faster than the speed of light, but actually time stops, and if you go faster, then it goes backwards. So probably all of you folks have had a situation where you start thinking about somebody, and I'll be darned, the phone rings, and that's who it is. Or you have somebody across the country that you're really close to, and you know, if you were really looking at the clock, you know about 30 seconds to a minute before it happens. That's because time is actually turned backwards. And supposedly one of the healing attributes of tachyon, you leave it long enough, particularly on something you bring new, then it actually can turn the time back on before it was happening. So, this is 0 point energy, and as it slows down to the speed of light, it starts to have form. Now, the form are smaller than atoms, molecules. They're smaller than photons. And these things will instantly go from a pion, or a tachyon goes to a muon, to a pion, to a... It just does it instantly. And it depends upon the SOEF, subtle organizing energy field, that it enters into, because all of a sudden, some guy says, I got a load of concrete here. Where do you want it? Oh, well, we're building the sidewalk over there. And we have the forms for the sidewalk. Or we're building the wall over here. So whatever subtle organizing energy field it gets into, as she mentioned, then that's what eventually pulls down and is created. However, this stuff goes with your intent. So I'm going to be putting tachyon on all of you guys, because there's no sense in just talk without feeling. This is the chakras of information and direction, but this is where you have your emotion and your power. And if I wanted to say, I want you to listen to some Mozart, and I light a firecracker, it goes bang, I says, okay, that's all the sound. Now, I'm handing out the sheet music now. Now, is that satisfying? No, because I've given you all the emotion, all the energy. It's incoherent. And then I've given you all the direction, which is the notes, but it doesn't make any sense. It isn't satisfying unless you're like Salieri, who, if you saw Amadeus, he could actually look at this stuff. And now the reason why he could do that, though, is because he took the direction and he took the energy and he worked until he could feel it. And you feel it right here in the middle section. And this is what we're going to deal with, is feel.
Because feel is far better than intellectual. In this country, we're all super intellectual. You have to have the paperwork to show it. In other countries, they got a little more sense. Questions?
No, I was just
Internal dialogue?
yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned everything has to be intellectual, and I just kind of looked at her, and she's like, "Why?" And I was like, "You have to have everything recorded on paper," and she does.
All right. Well, you can take this tachyon stuff. Now, again, there's about a 33-step process. It's proprietary. Anytime you hear proprietary, it means it's a secret. And one of the reasons one of the best examples was a guy who invented the revolver. Colt said, all right, we'll pay you 25 cents for every revolver, but you have to sue the people who are trying to steal your invention. The guy never made a cent. He spent all his time trying to sue and stop people from taking his invention. So if you keep it a secret and nobody knows how to make it, then you can keep people from hopefully misusing and making a monopoly out of it, things like this. As a matter of fact, the government knows about this, and they use frequency in ways that would probably scare you or disgust you. Now, you can use, what's the effect of tachyon? I've winnowed this way down. This is a Carillion photograph, and this is where they have a highly charged plate, and they take a picture with a particular type of film, and this is before, and then this is after 10 drops of tachyonized water. Now, when the water is tachyonized, it's gone through at least a 14-day process. It's a 33-step process, one of which is 14 days in something like a microwave at a particular frequency, which changes its molecular substance to actually attract this energy. And this right here is what happened after 10 drops. And when the tachyon pendant, which is, here's one right here, or here's one. Here's probably one of the biggest ones that you can get on your own. It's a scarab beetle. Now, you know what they're pointing at. These are places where the meridians start, and you'll notice there's holes. The one that's most famous for me is the one right here for the heart. You actually have two. This one right here is pericardium, which is the thing that surrounds the heart. And actually, I could probably go down just with my finger. Did you ever do this?
We learned at Sudi Chim, and then we learned how to relate the meridians to all the surface of the hand as well as the body.
Do you send energy up them?
Well, we never really did that. Never learned how to do that.
Oh, it's simple. It's easy. Good. Okay, this is heart 9. There's heart 8. Heart 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Can you feel it?
I can feel it all the way when I take you all the way up.
Yeah. Now, he can do that. You can all do it. It's just that you see he's worked on it.
I know where the meridians are, though. I know how they run. So.
Yeah. Now, with your finger, let me see your finger with the other hand. That's all right. I'll put this on and make sure that you feel it. Okay. Do you feel a little? There we go. Now you feel that? Okay. Now go down like that, and you'll feel a little zing. No, it's in here.
And that's not on the inside.
Yeah, inside. Now find the one right here. Just go back and forth. You'll find it. No, right there. You're looking for 8. No,
8.
Right here. This is 9. 8's right here. Feel it? Yes, you can. Can't you? Little zing.
Right there, yeah.
Well, actually, you'll have to go down here. That's 7 right there.
Remember it, Sam.
See, if you get worried, now here's the problem. All you folks can do this. It's just that you didn't know you could. And you'll probably start doing what you started doing. And, gee, I wonder if I could do this.
Well, then I started going over, and then I got to go, all right, I'm on the lateral medial aspect, and then I got to go in, and there's heart 7, and I got to remember, and then you got 3 to go, and then it's good.
Yeah, as soon as you get self-conscious,
Yeah,
then you can't pay attention to what you're doing. Now, please, if you don't remember anything about anything, remember this. I guarantee you'll be unhappy if you get self-conscious. If you pay attention to how you're doing, you can't pay attention to what you're doing.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
I started to say something earlier and I didn't. About intention. What Diane was talking about as intention is not, I consciously will decide to do this. The intention he's talking about is letting the field, letting that which is, take over and do it. Tune into what you are, tune into your connection, and that's what the intention he's talking about. So the intention here is simply think about doing it.
Just feeling.
Just
Not try it
allowing.
again. Find number 8. It's right there.
Intention is as much
You'll find it.
allowing as pushing.
Even just go to 8. You know where it is. There it is. Right? Go back and forth. You'll feel the zing. Feel it?
Yeah.
Now, does anybody have trouble with picking up a telephone and calling someone? Do you put it over here and just randomly punch? Or you actually know the number, have the intent of doing it, and get their frequency? And that's all you have to do with any of this stuff. All these frequencies are going through you. The question is, how many are you in on? How many do you recognize? If you were a tailor, you could look at my outfit and you'd see about 50 things. Well, wait a minute, it's the same thing I see. I just got white and khaki on, and maybe I put a belt on. And you see 50 other things because she's been trained to check it out. That's all it is. But one of the biggest things is, am I doing it right? Oh, maybe I can't feel this. And then one of the things that just really blows people. I don't feel things very well. Well, yeah, you're right. You don't. You believe you don't? You sure won't. Okay, now, in order to teach this, then I'm going to parse out, even though there's going to be this many people, some tachyon stuff. These are tachyon blankets. They cost $500 a piece. I had one of these, and I was putting them on my, what do you call it? Yeah, my massage therapy thing. Here a minute. Can you guys kind of share this? And I have airing out. I'll put it all the way around you. The more around you can, the better it is. This is extremely selective. It is just silk. First of all, is got its own vibration, and it is just, ladies, it's going to be tough pulling this thing away from you. And can you guys kind of get together? Just put it down here. Just get out as much as you can. Okay. You two want to get together?
Is there a difference between
Yeah, well, yeah. Feel it.
Well, yeah.
No, feel it right now. Just know how to feel. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now, take it off. How's that?
Slightly.
Oh my. Oh
This is
my.
These purple and blue are silk,
Yes.
and they bring in some ways more.
Now, the two of them over here that I have are, they're not mine. So, yeah.
But they're just the same.
Inner path. And let's see who's left.
Down there.
Okay.
And she's pregnant, so she definitely should have.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes. Yeah. You really glow. Yeah, the baby might start kicking around and stuff like that.
Oh,
Now,
I'm sure already.
Anybody want to play around with this one?
Let me
Again.
know.
I can, or, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you want to see what it feels like?
Oh, you can.
It's just, I can't wear these things just like it's obscene for me. just notice the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you characterize it?
So, a lot lighter.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that it's not as heavy physically, but it's a lot lighter feel. I think it's a little more, we call it, I don't know, just erotic, actually. That's what they're saying. Really, every time I've asked a woman to okay, let me have it back, they go like that. They're just going to pull it back like this, even though they know they have to give it back. All right, now, the reason why we're doing this, now, by the way, we have other things. These are things that we can put on your central and governing meridian, front and back, and get you doing Kundalini, which, my apologies to people in the back row, is not a garlic-flavored pasta, nor something dirty you do in your mouth. It is instead where your chakras, which go out this way, are now all going this way. And it's a kind of a rush and a half. And I thought you would take this. Just stand up, please. Okay.
Yeah.
This is starting. There you go. Now, you buckle up or you just leave it down. And by the way, this is what some people have, this super rush. And it's actually a Kundalini experience, and they think, I'm losing control. And it actually isn't, it's just that your energy goes like this. Oh, I know. That's the way to be. You see, if you think you're in control of life, then you're nuts. Life just comes and then you get on board. But if you try to force life, then and that is in your little full-page missive there. If you try to force life, the very last thing, one of the things to remember is that if you try to control life, then you strangle it. If you try to stop life, then you kill it. If you stop energy, you kill it. So you stay in the flow. Now, the effect, you might think that this is an effect that could be done just mentally. Well, here's some pampas grass. Okay. And this particular one right here was given some beads that were taxonized. It was actually smallest one of 4, and it turned out about 4 times the size of these over here. This one turned out a little bit bigger because it was a little closer. And by the way, this is one of the reasons why we put sand in almost everything that you replant. Because what is sand?
Like
Quartz crystal.
Yeah.
And all crystals take energy and amplify it. Got it? Okay. Now, your blood doesn't know what's going on. And here is some blood. Here. This is blood taken out. This is the same person 45 minutes later, after taking sublingual, in other words, right in their mouth, or just taking nice water. You notice how these things are clogged together? It's called rouleau. You notice how they started separating, and you notice also that they've got a rather definite circle there. And now this is the blood that wasn't. They separated the supply of blood, and this is the taconized, and this is the stuff that is 8 hours afterwards. This is what it looks like. 8 hours afterwards, this is what it looks like. And again, blood doesn't know. You can't fake blood out. Okay. Now, get ready, because now we're going to go into what the body is like. All right. We get most of our energy, or a lot of our energy, from something besides food. As a matter of fact, for a long time, food was considered to be the only kind of energy. The only kind of energy was utilizing calories from carbohydrates one time. And this is just another example of it. And here's the visible light, and here it is expanded. I don't need to keep that to that. Here, here's what the chakras look like. These are the major ones. You actually have one about a hand width down from your foot. That's the 8th chakra. And you have one up here. And take that finger, would you please, the one that you got sensitive? Okay, and would you please point on me to about right here, my angel chakra. Now go up and down. Oh no, you can't move this. You have to move the whole arm. Got it? It's my angel chakra. Now, you have one, that's your 9th chakra. About this far off the top of your head. Go ahead, go like that. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Right there. Right? Yeah. Now you really want something profound to happen. Go like this with both your hands. Get higher up. Get behind it. Okay. Grab it. No. Get like this. No, the other way. There we go. Now you got it. Go ahead. You grab it and then you just put it right in your heart, and you just have. Anybody want to do it? Go ahead. Try it. Some chakra. This far up. Grab it. That's it. Got it. Now you write down and push it into your heart. How's that feel? And then we can feel squirming. That means that something really important is happening. Want to do it on you? Can you have your finger? Your finger. Feel that right on the tip of your finger? Yeah, right there. Now you go up and down and find it. Is that it? Spooky? Or do you feel it? Okay, it's kind of an overwhelming sort of thing. You just think, oh, that's nice. And all we did is I just went like this on your hand, and now you know what that feels like. So anything you want to point at, go ahead and point to here on me, and try to find my heart chakra. Feel it? Yeah, boom, immediately. Well, crown chakra, right there. Right there. You just telephone me. I'm at home. No answering service. And if you want, imagine that I am, you have a child? You have a significant other? Okay. All right. Oh, okay, great. Check out right here on your significant other because it's right there. That's him. Okay, so go ahead. Try. Got it? And by the way, if you were in touch with him, you could, over the telephone, you probably start working on it. This is why I need more of these things right here to keep him going. See, I have a problem with teaching things for people. I prefer to teach people. And it doesn't mean you follow the strict. Okay, so here's what some of the minor chakras are, including a couple on the other side of your knees and the bottom of your feet. You see those circles? That's right here. Okay? And you have them right here, as a matter of fact. Go ahead, check out right along here on me, from here. Feel it? Almost every place you have a joint. All you have to do is just say, wait a minute, is Is this suggestion? No, this is the power behind a placebo. Somebody gives you a sugar pill that's not supposed to do anything for you. Matter of fact, sugar is bad for you. And you heal. And the reason why is that you don't believe you can heal yourself. You believe in that, which allows you to go ahead and heal yourself. And this is the power behind it. And this puts power into it. Now, I could have you take that off. Totally off. There we go. Now, do the same thing. Still there.
It's harder to feel now.
Yes, now, put that in your lap. Big time, isn't it?
And that's what Tachyon does.
And that's what Tachyon is. Your intent powers it up. Now, ask to find it. I mean, ask to really find my angel chakra, for instance. And you'll get it big time. As a matter of fact, ask to have some of the energy from it. And it'll go there. Okay, well, here's what the chakras are supposed to look like. They actually do this. They look like a big donut. It's a toroid. And the toroid goes around and around. For guys, it goes that way. It goes this way for girls. And you also have zones. Oh, pardon me. If you're a baby, you'll notice that these things aren't very well developed. They just generally have one chakra. And it's basically Kundalini. And as a result, that's why you can take the biggest, ugliest murderer in the world and put a baby in his arms and he just melts. Biggest thug you ever saw. And because these little kids, I've actually been in restaurants where a baby goes, and everybody in the restaurant holds their breath because he's broadcasting. Now, as he gets old enough and starts saying things like, look at me, pay attention to me, then he starts developing this horizontal chakras. And if you want to get really up there, you want to get just one chakra like this. Then all of your energy, and what she said was, you just try to be, you get your entire self behind who you are, instead of, am I doing okay? Or how do I look? All that sort of stuff. And then you have incredible power. Well, here are the chakras, and here are the subtle organizing energy fields. Now, every one of you folks, how many people want to see an aura? Okay. Anybody already see auras? Okay, great. You'll always be able to see the very first one. And for them, it's about this far off you. And if you'll take a look at me, and then don't look at me, look past me. 10 feet. There we are. Look past me, you'll see sort of like a haze. Okay, let me see. How big is it? Yeah, there. Mine isn't this big. It's about, there. Can you see it? Can you see it? Yeah. Can you see kind of like a shadow? And you can't look at me, because as soon as you look at me, then it's like those, 3D things. You're actually supposed to look in the distance and then be able to adjust your eyes, but not let them go like this. Can you see?
I wasn't thinking about it. I thought I saw something blue.
Yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, some people see colors. You see kind of a haze around the edge of me. Look beyond me. It looks like heat.
If you wear glasses and take your glasses off, sometimes it's much easier that way.
You see?
Because it's out of focus.
Yeah. Everything's trying to get to the water. There. Now you see? You saw? Now look at me. That's a terrible thing to do anyway. I used to tell my kids that one thing about me is I'm not two-faced, because if I was, would I be wearing this one? So, and they never, what's bad is they never argue with me. Ever. Man, you right. Okay. Now, if you try too hard, then you focus and you lose it. And now, did you see, like if you look across a hood of a car that's just stopped, and you see kind of a little thing like that, you see that. Okay. You see that. Yeah, okay. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to up my energy level, and I want you to look carefully, see how big that is, and then it's going to get bigger. Ready? And you guys are also going to feel kind of a raising in the back of your head. Ready? Here we go. Get set. Go. Boy, I'm ringing in my ears. Which, by the way, if you're to psychics, you probably hear some ringing in the ears. How many people saw a change? Okay, let me bring it down. Now you can do this too. Matter of fact, it takes another minute and a half. I can teach all of you guys how to do it. You've always had to do it. Matter of fact, you go into shock and you do it. This is why things slow down when you're in shock. You're in a higher vibration. You didn't know that. Okay. Never be the same. Okay, so here again is the auras, and you can mess with the auras. Now, you can also feel the auras. Are you any good with feeling? Okay. Let me have your right hand. All right, one finger. Okay. Can you feel that? Okay, let's see here. Okay, that's where my aura is now. Okay, go up into it. Go back. Feel it? Where?
Right here.
Okay.
Starts to like vibrate.
Actually, go back a little bit. There. That's even vibrating more, isn't it? There. Now, how many years of training have you had? You Reiki master and I don't know, just a Swami, and you spent years on mountaintops and stuff like this?
Not very much.
Like maybe a minute and a half?
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you? It tells you that you got this all the time. It's just a question of, can you, if somebody shows you what to pay attention to, all those little twitches and stuff like this. I found myself, I was talking to somebody. Matter of fact, let me talk to this person because I want to put it behind me. And I was going like this. And this finger right here, which is what? Meridian?
On your, see, I study Koryo Suji Chim, so I look at things a little different than reflexology.
Okay.
That'd be your REN
Okay.
on the other side.
It's also your pericardium or your heart stressor. And sure enough, I zing, zing, zing every time I passed by her. And it's just, I don't know, but if you had some heart problems, yeah, and you can feel it. And matter of fact, when you run this little thing right here, people with heart problems, they'll have a wrinkle right in there. Start wrinkling. Now, do you know that the meridian is about 1/100th of a human hair wide vessel?
I didn't know that.
Did you also know that you can put little electrodes right next to it, and you don't get much, and then you can put it on there, and it's many, many, many times more conductive?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know, though, this is important, that there's many times more enzymes, and that enzymes are energetically powered up or wiped out. Matter of fact, that's why you guys are in such bad health, because you're eating cooked food. After 15 minutes at 118 degrees Fahrenheit, it kills all the enzymes. If you took pasteurized milk and fed it to a calf, it would die of malnutrition because it doesn't have the mother's enzymes in it. And this is what we're doing. We're taking our enzymes we would use for for our metabolism, for our rebuilding, and for our detoxing, and we're having to use it on just getting our food digested. So as a result, we find kids who go into such failure that they're having adult onset diabetes at a really young age. Okay, well, here's what some of the vibrations do. They mentioned that an atom has a frequency up to here, virus up to here, plants up to here, dog up to here, and humans up to here that we recognize. But the astral plane, which is your emotions, your mental plane, your causal, which is spiritual, and then this right here is the one that hooks you up with everything. Now, all the stuff that I'm telling you, a lot of the times you're thinking, well, gee, that sounds about right. Actually, what it is that if you are in the field, then here's where your mind and your mind actually is. It's out here. This is where you've learned things. And when it's out here and you're conscious of it being out here, then you can get information from anywhere and everywhere. You'll have an answer and you just, I don't know where that came from. But you can't think of yourself. You have to think of what? Nothing. Be light and airy, and somebody asks a question, and boom, you got it. Well, now, can you tell me what's on the internet specifically?
Information.
Yeah, but what information? Is it possible to tell me?
Conscious.
Well, it's not possible because it's all there. What's really important is that you can access what you want. And most everything, billions and trillions of things, are what you don't want. And if you ever get somebody who's a real computer freak, they practically have an orgasm in front of you just explaining about all the stuff that they can access. And of course, unfortunately, they usually sit in front of the computer and don't do much with it. But you're actually plugging into this energy. And they can answer questions, and they can answer questions that they're not supposed to be able to do. They can probably, if you're really good at accessing, they'll create stuff. And this is what this thing is all about. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about you. This is how your energy things are set up. One thing they don't tell you about is that this cosmic energy comes into these plugs, the chakras, and the minor chakras. Then how does the energy get to where it's going? Well, may I see the hands of the people who've been taught about nadis, N-A-D-I-S? Take a look around, nobody's hands. Nadis are the 60 to 70,000 energetic pathways that have no physical, like a meridian hasn't got a physical thing. Well, now, when you call somebody on your cell phone, where's the line? Well, guess what? That's what tachyon, or that's what trigger point, by the way, is all about. It's these non-physical hookups. I mean, you guys are hooked up to each one of you, and you're giving information all the time to each one of you. And none of it right now is talking. I'd have to give you a detention. An old teacher thing. Sorry. All right, now, let's take a look. There was, once upon a time, and it's still going, a Dr. Emoto. This Dr. Emoto said, I want to study the structure of water, and we are mostly made out of water. So what he did is he took various bits of water, poured a drop or so in these little flasks, got into a freezer, and then with a camera and a microscope, he would take pictures of these drops of water forming from the outside up, and then it would push up a little thing, and then you would be able to see, or not see, a little snowflake. Now this is what distilled water looks like when it's frozen. It has no energy. It has no character. Now they took this distilled water, put it on a picture of this little kid with a smiling face, and it changed into that. Now we're talking 50 drops of water per bottle. So, here is something where they took a picture, they put a distilled water on a picture of dolphins. Use your finger again, you're going to find a real weird feeling on this, because there's information about dolphins. And dolphins are super smart. And as a matter of fact, if you get in the water with dolphins, they'll go to a pregnant woman first. They will go to a kid next. They'll go to a woman next. And if there's nobody else, they'll go to me. And there have been a few experiments where they've had dolphins in the water while the woman is having a child. The children turn out to be exceptional. The mothers feel no pain and almost have orgasm. Now, some waters are already preloaded. This is water at the healing place, the fountain of, is it Lourdes? Okay. France. Now, here's one where they played a Korean folk song. Notice, now a folk song, or a folk dance song, that's kawachi, but they figured if you're Japanese, you know it's Korean. Notice, there's practically, it's extremely simple. And of course, folk dance songs generally are very simple. Here's one where they played box air for the G string, which is, a Japanese, I'm sure that Bach didn't have G strings back there, but in G, 4 strings, there we are. And you'll notice that not only is there one crystal with all sorts of stuff, but there's 2 or 3. As a matter of fact, these things are supposed to be, try to get this, okay, there it is. Now, this is their first book, and by the way, I've got book 3, and their pictures are a whole lot better. Okay. This is music that exposed to a CD. It was special technology. I don't know, HemiSync. You ever heard of that? Where they play stuff with information buried in these things, and this is the crystal that comes out of it. Now, the color, this color right here is the color they seem to put in for English stuff, American stuff. So the color doesn't change. Okay. This is music for a CD music, a soundtrack of a movie, 7 Years in Tibet. Now, and if you beg me enough, I won't sing Heartbreak Hotel. And that's Elvis Presley. And you'll notice that there were actually 3 typical types of music. And whether you know it or not, this bottom one right here is he loved religious music. And anytime you have a religious or spiritual theme, if you'll go like this on this one here from where you are, you'll notice nothing like that. Matter of fact, if you go like that, it'll push back at you. Do you feel it? Yeah. Okay. And this is a kind of square for just regular music. Now, please keep control of your head so that you don't get whiplash. But this is heavy metal music. And it sure enough looks like somebody took a baseball bat to somebody's windshield. Okay? And you're going, yeah, okay. Okay, this is popular music, Japanese popular music. It looks like jello squares. Now, here you have a canister of water, and they put in Japanese, thank you. Now, is that amazing? Now, because you're on tachyon, you're actually starting to feel this. And one of the reasons why you're beginning to feel this is because this is your part of your crystalline nature. Water acts as a conductor and a crystal. All crystals take energy and amplify and store information. Now, Here's thank you in Hangul, and the fact is it was so simple and earnest that they couldn't get the whole picture in. Here's thank you in English, and it looks like, you know, somebody's very expensive thank you brooch or something like this. Now,
How's everybody?
that was the Russian edition. All right, here we go. This is Adolf Hitler, and this is the best crystal I could find out of Adolf Hitler. So, words have a power, a vibration, and it's enough to curdle your inside. Here's Mother Teresa, and some people say that they kind of see her right there. Here's, you make me sick, I will kill you. And you can see the guy going like this. And I whip through there because this is you fool. And here it is in English. Notice the feeling you're having? Do you notice that? Notice it's lightened up? Why do you have so many pictures at home? Because they all have that energy. Now you have to be careful about the way you say things. Here's do it, my way or the highway. Let's do it. Cooperation, something that you can grow with, it's coherent. Now here's some water that was in a dam, and a lot of water is polluted up there in Japan, and it's just not just physical pollution, it's mental pollution. One guy with 1 hour, a Shinto priest, and the whole place looked like this. He was chanting and praying. What are you supposed to do before you eat? Say grace. Guess what it'll do? It'll make the thing taste better. It'll also maybe make it digest better. Here's tap water taken the day before, and this guy sent letters to 500 of his instructors across Japan. Hado, which by the way is probably Sakihan. And he says, he just sent information, said at 2 o'clock I'll leave a cup of this tap water, and please transmit chi and soul of love. Okay? So here's what it looked like before, and then in remote, so it looked like right there. Chi and soul and spirit, 500 people. You probably couldn't get 500 people to do it. Okay, now, here is water that was actually protected with love and gratitude. In other words, here's one canister that had love and gratitude. Here's another distilled water canister with nothing on it. Both of those go into a, what is it, is this a TV? No, the microwave. And here's the unprotected stuff. So you can actually get protection from electricity. Here's in front of the TV. Here's the, is that right? No, this is a computer in front of the computer, sorry. And this one's the protected one, with love and gratitude, and here's without, looks like cancer or something like that. Now, just to wig you out, this right here, which is nothing like any of the other crystals, was put on a picture of a crop circle. And it really does look like somebody stamped this out, and these are little, like this is a battery, and these little dog bone things, or I don't know, some sort of circuit. So, now here's a picture of Dr. Emoto's is Japanese, so is his wife. So his wife takes a picture of him, and notice the 8-sided or 6-sided snowflakes. And then he takes a picture of her, and they're round. Okay. Now you know a little bit about your own crystalline self. All right. Somebody take, can you guys share? Take 2. Thanks, man. We'll tear it apart because we're actually using.
John.
Oh, was already done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have each one of you have 2 of these things, and I'm going to put water, same water, in each one of them. Take 2. Put just a small amount of water, enough so that you'll be able to taste it maybe 3 times. And just put them in both and don't drink them yet. Now what I've got here is I have something that goes about 140 feet. Feel it? See, now one of the reasons why, because you now know what tachyon energy feels like. Feel that? You want to feel your mind?
Yeah.
Feel it? Yeah. And now, is everybody getting kind of, like the hair on your arm and kind of going, what? That's because everything is non-local. I mean, you're starting to feel what everybody else is feeling. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do, well, I'll get some help here, is separate them, if you would, please, so that there's, okay. Put one that's going to be non-treated as far away from you because you're already beaming and all that, and then I'm going to go like this. So, would you do this with this one right here, and then when you get through, as a matter of fact, put your hand out like this, and can you feel a beaming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Now try tasting that and then taste that. This one? Okay. I'll push your hand further. So this goes pretty straight, but I just didn't want to push it. Doesn't have anything. Now it's starting to build. Can you feel it? See, when you challenge people, how am I doing? Don't worry. It's just you don't know what it is. And taste that, and see if there's a difference. Is there a difference?
This one's a little colder, it seemed like.
Colder?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the untreated?
It was a treated.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not just cold. Try to taste the texture difference. Like, one should have more chlorine, even though I've let it sit. You feel it's getting more and more. That's the water actually beaming. It's on your arch, your pericardium. It gets start to throw up and stuff. Which one? This one. And by the way, something else you should go like this, going, this would go and calm down faster than this would. Because what happens is it breaks it up so that the water temperature it's broken up a lot. Yeah. Probably. And by the way, by going in circles, that puts energy in. It's also the way that Mother Nature energizes and cleans your water. It tumbles it, does it horrible. You watch those fishing shows where you see the bubbles doing this and like this. And they're trying to catch trout in a small stream. And that's, try it. Which one you want? That one? Okay. Now, you feel anything, any energy? Because I'm moving it, you'll feel a little waves and stuff like this. And are you starting to feel something? Getting out of it, it'll get steadier and steadier. Right? The energy. Notice how it keeps going? It's more like Zoe. I've actually done this thing. This one, the throttle is actually the chunk right now. So, check both of them out. It's already broken. And by the way, this water that you drink has to be energized. It's just that are you drinking energized water, or are you taking the energy from you? Oh, what are you drinking? Coffee? Oh, great. Great. Because I have to get a taste of these two things. Good taste of that. I'll take the bitterness out. Bring it out for you. Feel it? Okay. Good. I'll try that out. Which one? This one? And you are basically, you take energy and you amplify it. Now, let's say that you want money. And so you send an order out for money. But what's behind the money? Behind the money is this, I'm desperate and I've got to have the money. And the desperation is the thing that comes to the universe. Money is hard to get. Is energy really hard to get when this much can boil all the oceans? Energy isn't that hard to get. And if you're in the flow, which I suspect you've done some being in the flow, you're finding out money just sort of appears when you need it, like no sweat, and just people want to slap it to you when you tell them. Yeah, and you just no sweat it, and you spend money like you actually had it. And sure enough, not only does it come to you, sometimes it comes ahead of time. And I've had times when I said, what do I need $4,500 for? And and then boom, there was something wrong with the house and $4,500. Oh, okay. 3 days ahead. Now, we've gone over time. Are there any questions? Now, how do you heal? Well, the fact is, there's this Lorraine Day. Have you seen her on TV? And she's a doctor. And they had a picture of her. She had, she was putting the seatbelt on, and something uncomfortable here. And they found out that she had metastasized cancer, a tiny little pea thing here, had gone all the way across the upper chest, which I hear is fairly rare. And they had a picture of her that it looked like somebody took a baseball from behind and thrown it and it come out like that. I mean, it was terrible. And she basically said, well, look, our government has known long time ago. As a matter of fact, in the 70s, they came out with a $40 million study that said 80% of all diseases are lifestyle and nutrition. And then when they found out this is what their blue ribbon study said, they took all the copies away and took it all back, and it didn't surface until 1994 when the drug companies were going to try to make anybody who gets vitamins had to go to their doctor. And so somebody leaked a copy of it saying 80% of this stuff has to do with you did it to yourself. And this is what Lorraine Day is, a doctor, Lorraine Day, and she went back and she healed herself. And if you see her picture, stick with that infomercial if you can see it on TV. And that is a grim picture. And the deal is, you have to realize that you need to own what's happening to you. You're asking for it. If you go to work for McDonald's, you're asking to be taken advantage of because that's the way they work it. You're in there, what do you call it? And it's a real thing. It's a matrix of what's right and wrong. So if you go from here and you say, I have a different reality, you're going to have a tough time because everybody else's reality is in the matrix, in the air, and you'll be sweating bullets. So be afraid to live this out. because, well, that's not the way everybody else sees it. But you see, if you buy, let's say you have, how many people have insurance, medical insurance? So if you're sick, what are you going to do? Go to the doctor and use his stuff. And as far as nutrition is concerned, doctors don't even necessarily take nutrition classes. It's optional. So, all right, we have questions because all you guys you're with me right now. We can try experiment after experiment. I can work. Well, here, put your hand up like this. It's this hand. All right. All right. Now I'm going to put energy into my finger or my palm of my hand. Boy, I'm getting the zing on my little finger. Some of this arms. Everybody feel it? Okay. Feel it? I always had the same problem. This is the problem about this is that when you challenge people, now, do you feel anything running around on the inside of your hand? Okay, you? Yeah, well, that's what you keep